because we all know when it comes to the decisions of the past 3 years, every poll has shown us for more than 18 months, in fact, since the end of The Voice, when he turned 60-40 yes into 60-40 no, Australians have not been listening. So the Prime Minister is trying to get your attention with your money.
A $7.2 billion announcement today.
$5 million.
$10 million. $200 million. $3 billion. $350 million. $2 billion.
$37 million.
$842 million. $2.4 billion.
$8.5 billion.
$4.8 billion. $1 billion.
See? It's just endless, literally every single day. And we are, what, about halfway through March? Not even at the end of the third month, and that is just the daily toll on the billions and billions and billions. Well, despite the fact that Jacinta Allan is running a very unpopular government, she, of course, was around the table when Victoria was spending money like, well, even drunken sailors would have been embarrassed by how much money was going around. And in actual fact, so unpopular is Jacinta Allan that I know this to be a fact, that Anthony Albanese has come in and out of Melbourne, slid in and out of Melbourne without even telling the Premier he's there, let alone stopping over for a lunch or doing a selfie by the barbecue like he did with Dictator Dan. They are not going to be seen, apparently, arm in arm at the upcoming election. Why? Because Victoria is one of the worst performing states at the moment in terms of the primary vote and the latest polls in and around this upcoming election. Now, they are down 8 points since the last election. They were there in the very early 30s. They're now down to the mid-20s. New South Wales and Victoria, the worst states where the most number of seats are. So this is a problem. When not even you can crack a quarter of the vote, ever so slightly to the technical quarter in Queensland. And as we saw out of Western Australia, Labor's probably doing better in Western Australia, South Australia and Tasmania. I don't know what's happening in the Northern Territory, but we will all find out together in just a few weeks' time. But desperately trying to find a way not to embrace the bad Victorian government, who has done disgraceful things to its economy, blown every version of the credit card, and now they are onto the payday lender as a way of being able to keep the lights on in Victoria. Well, now the entire pot of GST money has been rearranged. Money will now be going to Victoria. Victoria will actually be getting more money or a greater share of GST, the tax of 10% on everything, paid, of course, from the southern bit of Tasmania, the top of Queensland, over to everywhere in WA and everywhere else in between. Victoria has emerged as the biggest winner of this next year's GST carve-out. Of course, nothing to do with 24% in the opinion polls. Oh, this was all scientific, apparently. They're going to get an extra $3.7 billion in revenue. The Commonwealth Grants Commission made the decision on Friday. It shows that Victoria is expected to get $26.1 billion in GST of the total $95 billion that the tax creates. By the way, that is less money than company tax and less money than personal income tax. So just in case you think the biggest source of government revenue is the GST, no, it's not. It's you going to work. So good luck paying tax until Wednesday. The huge increase to the state coffers is up from $22.5 billion in 24-25, rolling back to $18 and a bit billion in 23-24. Victoria's got 25.7% of the nation's population, but will get 27.5% of the GST. This means when you actually put some numbers together, and I'm saving the GST announcement because that comes from a different pot of money, the total amount of promises to buy your vote from a Prime Minister who is in a world of trouble, no matter how many times you hear about the protection racket coming from his mates in the media that he likes to metaphorically tuck into bed each and every night, almost $40 billion. And as you know, one of the reasons why the government has been able to post surpluses for the past couple of years, and probably again in a couple of weeks' time, is because the huge receipts when it comes to mining, huge increases when it comes to the taxes on things like petrol and cigarettes and alcohol, huge increases in the amount of money that is coming in when it comes to personal income tax. And largely all of this extra money has resulted in an extra $400 billion coming to the federal government. But as they write in the Financial Review, much of it has been wasted. It's been wasted, put simply, as Chris Richardson, who we hope to talk to between now and the budget, by the way. He's, of course, the guy who has a look at the budget. He's able to work out what is the on-budget money, the off-budget money, the money they promised to save and the money that they are overspending. They were kissed on the proverbial, given a blank cheque, $400 billion. What do they spend it on? Generally, welfare, guaranteed pay rises for public servants, 3 pay rises for politicians. How did your life get better as a result of that $400 billion? Oh, and by the way, one of the ways they got that $400 billion is they took $1,500 off 10 million taxpayers. Remember this. Whatever they have promised, whatever they promised to deliver, for 10 million workers, $1,500 worse off after one of their first budgets, and you have never got even close to that number. Again, more polls as we are talking tonight about state of the race.